Tony with Culinary Seasons, and today I'm at Salant Family Ranch, located in Ruch, Oregon in the Applegate Valley, about 10 miles from Medford, Oregon. The Salant family purchased the 100-acre ranch in 1995, previously a dairy farm, and had been known as the Circle G. When I arrived, I was quickly greeted by Callie and Yoshi, Peter's ranch dogs, outside the barn. The barn was built in 1927, almost 100 years ago. The cattle drink from snowmelt waters that feed the Little Applegate River, which runs through the ranch just past the barn. Upon my arrival, Peter Salant told me he wanted to show me a day in the life of a cattle rancher. And he wasn't kidding. A calf and a mom had escaped last night. Peter had them penned separate because the calf had been born a couple days ago, and he wants to keep an eye on it. To help wrangle them back into the barn, Peter had me stand in front of the door. They seemed to just walk right on in. I think Peter's got them trained pretty well.
There you go, girl.
The tour of the ranch began at the 2-year-old pen. The 13 here will be fattened up throughout the year for processing down the road. Once Peter selects the next 3 for processing, they get separated out in their own pen. All the cattle are fed an alfalfa grass diet. In addition to the grass, the 3 are fed a grain diet. Peter explained what goes into that grain diet.
Barley, oats, and corn in it. And then there's a mineral pellet as well. And then they mix it with molasses. It's really good. It's like cattle granola.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like granola.
Yeah. And if we added milk to it, we could probably eat it too.
Peter's proud to say his beef is USDA certified natural grass-fed, grain-finished Angus beef cross.
Okay. These are the 1-year-old.
Gotcha.
They were born last spring. And they all have ear tags. They've all been identified the day they're born. They get a whole set of shots. They get an ear tag. The ear tag has their own number, their mother's number, the date they were born. So I can look at an ear tag and tell a bunch of information. The first number, the 22 is the year they were born, and then the number is in order of their birth. They have a tag in their left ear, it's a female. They have a tag in their right ear, like that's this guy, or this guy, it's a male. Okay. And I can tell their moms already. So we've been doing with it.
Being naturally grass-fed and grain-finished, no hormones or antibiotics are fed to the cattle. Cattle are raised with best husbandry practices. It definitely shows in the final product. Peter has 2 breeding steer. He explained that all his cattle are Black Angus and Simmental cross. I asked Peter how the breeding steer's behavior differed from other bulls.
They're just another type, almost another animal. And you got to be careful with them. You can't ever trust them all the way. But normally, 99% of the time, they're totally calm and nice. But you just don't want to bring it back.
The Black Angus breed gives the cattle a muscular size, and the Simmental Swiss breed gives them a longer, thicker body. This mom wasn't too happy about us being in the pasture near her day-old calf while it was sunning. The Simmental breed makes an Angus Simmental cross better milk producers, which is better for the calves.
Have a newborn.
They get 2 vaccinations. One's an intranasal vaccination, and another one is in oral in their mouth. Mm-hmm. And these are for calf scours, which is a common name for some bacterial infections they get, and the vitamin shot. I mean, you can see all the babies, and some are like that one was born January 17th.
It was clear the mothers weren't too happy about us doing the interviews, interrupting their feeding time. While Peter was backing in the tractor, I met Fernando the barn cat. I asked Peter what his favorite and least favorite things were about ranching.
Loading the trailer is my least favorite. This is my least favorite part. But no, it's hard to explain. Sometimes I like taking care of cattle. I like going to the market. I like most of it, because I do it voluntarily. So it's one of those things like, well, why? I can't really explain it. It's something I've been doing for a long time, and I enjoy raising livestock, raising cattle especially.
Peter throws down 12 100-pound bales to load onto the tractor. Each pen gets fed 3 bales per day, 1.5 in the morning and 1.5 in the evening. As we go, 1.5 bales will get fed to each pen, and the other 1.5 will get staged for the evening feeding.
Normally, I have a guy that helps me. He loads and feeds the cattle in the mornings, 6 days a week, 5 to 6 days a week. He's at the cattle right now, so I'm looking off. The challenge is not to clean yourself up. Those cattle hear the tractor. What's really cool is the machine that loads all these in here. These big blocks, like that block down there, 60 bales or 64 bales, it lifts them all in one shot. It double stacks them. It's called a squeeze. It's like forklift with the blades turned. Yeah. They squeeze the stack to the bottom, lift the arms in and climb it. Brings it in 9 blocks at a time, and he unloads the truck, puts it all in here.
Hey, so you just get one shipment a year?
6 shipments.
Oh, 6.
6 trucks.
Wow.
6 full trucks.
Wow.
It's about 60,000. It's tripled in the last year.
The mother's pen has 2 different areas for feeding, but this little one wasn't too happy either way. Larger cows tend to push the smaller ones out of the way during feeding time. This particular pen has 2 different feeding areas. Peter goes on to explain how he'll feed the calves in a separate area.
Yeah, what I do is, I'll do it in a little while. Bring a few plates over there to that group. That's why they're standing there, because I got them shrunk now. they get their hay over there. And the older ones, really, the younger ones. Last year I had a set of twins. I do have twins occasionally, maybe 1%. And usually the mother doesn't raise both. She usually has a favorite. Usually the first one is born. So I had to start bottling the second one, and then.
In the case of the second twin, or in other cases where the mother isn't taking to the calf, Peter has cows that will take on the nursing of the calves, so he doesn't have to bottle feed until the cows are ready to eat hay. As you can see, the older calves have caught on where to go to eat. The younger ones take a little bit of time to catch on, but eventually they do. Where you're feeding the bulls, Peter pointed out that in order for them to go to processing, he likes to get the beef to 1,500 to 1,600 pounds. And that's one thing with the Angus Simmental cross that allows them to get to a beefier weight than a Hereford Angus cross. He has 17 steer that are ready to go this year for processing. In the yearlings, he has 27, and that's a mix of males and females. And come to find out that the counting of the calves don't come into play until they're older. So he has 66 head of cattle, not counting the young ones. The bulk of the work is done early in the day. Peter stages out the hay for the later feeding in the evening. So in the evening, he just needs to come out and throw some hay for the cows. When I arrived at the ranch, it was feeding time, so most of the cattle were waiting for food in their pens. The cattle grazed the pastures throughout the day. Before I left, I asked Peter what he feels sets his beef apart from commercial ranches. His response: quality alfalfa, quality grain, and treat the animals well. The quality and care he puts into the ranch shows in his final product. I want to thank Peter Salant for showing me a day in the life of his ranch. Support Salant Family Ranch and your local rancher at a farmer's market near you. Over the old milking room are 2 guest rooms. Book a stay at the Circle G bunkhouse on Airbnb or other travel sites.